Psalm 78. Listen, dear friends, to God's truth. Bend your ears to what I tell you. I'm chewing on the morsel of a proverb. I'll let you in on the sweet old truths, stories we heard from our fathers, counsel we learned at our mother's knee. We're not keeping this to ourselves. We're passing it along to the next generation. God's fame and fortune, the marvelous things he has done. He planted a witness in Jacob, set his word firmly in Israel, then commanded our parents to teach it to their children so the next generation would know and all the generations to come. Know the truth and tell the stories so their children can trust in God. Never forget the works of God, but keep his commandments to the letter. Heaven forbid that they should be like their parents, bullheaded and bad, a fickle and faithless bunch who never stayed true to God. The Ephraimites, armed to the teeth, ran off when the battle began. They were cowards to God's covenant, refused to walk by his word. They forgot what he had done, marvels he had done right before their eyes. He performed miracles in plain sight of their parents in Egypt. Out on the fields of Zon, he split the sea, and they walked right through it. He piled the waters to the right and to the left. He led them by day with a cloud, led them all the night long with a fiery torch. He split rocks in the wilderness, gave them all that they could drink from underground springs. He made creeks flow out of the sheer rock and water pour out like a river. And all they did was sin even more, rebel in the desert against the high God. They tried to get their own way with God, clamored for favors, for special attention. They whined like spoiled children. Why can't God give us a decent meal in this desert? Sure, he struck the rock and the water flowed and cascaded from the rock. But how about some fresh baked bread? How about a nice cut of meat? When God heard that, he was furious. His anger flared against Jacob. He lost his temper with Israel. It was clear they didn't believe God, had no intention of trusting in his help. But God helped them anyway. He commanded the clouds and gave orders that they opened the gates of heaven. He rained down showers of manna to eat. He gave them the bread of heaven. They ate the bread of the mighty angels, and he sent them all the food that they could eat. He let east wind break loose from the skies, gave a strong push to south wind. This time it was birds that rained down, succulent birds, an abundance of birds. He aimed them right for the center of their camp. All around their tents there were birds. They ate and they had their fill, and he handed them everything they craved on a platter. But their greed knew no bounds. They stuffed their mouths with more and more. Finally, God was fed up. His anger erupted. He cut down their highest and brightest and best. He laid low Israel's finest young men. And, can you believe it? They kept right on sinning. All those wonders, and they still wouldn't believe. So their lives wasted away to nothing. Nothing to show for their lives but a ghost town. When he cut them down, they came running for help. They turned and pled for mercy. They gave witness that God was their rock. The high God was their redeemer. But they didn't even mean a word of it. They lied through their teeth the whole time. They could not have cared less about him, wanting nothing to do with his covenant. And God, compassionate, forgave the sin, didn't destroy. Over and over, he reigned in his anger, restrained his considerable wrath. He knew what they were made of. He knew there wasn't much to them. How often in the desert they had spurned him, tried his patience in those wilderness years.